selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector.
Welcome to the IPA Champions Cup, live on Sporty Stuff TV.
Well, a very, very good evening and welcome to day 8 of the Sporty Stuff Champions Cup of Pool. Got 5 absolute cracking live matches to bring you. And next to me is my old mate, the pool expert. They call him the governor at pool, Mr. Mark Pickworth. Good evening, Mark. How are we?
Good evening, Gary. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, plenty of pressure on you tonight. 5 real close matches tonight. And you want to take the favourites on, and I know you do, so you've got to be right.
Well, I can keep with the pressure. Just make sure you keep to your end of the bargain, because I'll keep to my end.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you get it right.
I won't
tonight.
let my
You've got to get
down.
it right tonight. We've got some short price favourites as well for the viewers to take on or be with. And before we start about tonight, last night, Mark, what happened last night?
Oh, it was spectacular. We went right down to the sudden death sort of black at the end, and it was tremendous. And Liam Dunster and Corey Reese, they are through now to Event 1 final, which is tomorrow night, which will be starting at 9 o'clock on YouTube. And who is going to get through? As you can see, there's 2 places up for grabs tonight, and 2 players must go into that Event 1 final tonight. And how that is decided will be either on points, frames won, or even a black ball shootout. Are we going to have another black ball shootout? There is more and more chance of this happening now, this getting down to this business end of the competition.
Liam Dunster, I can tell you now, he's a shade of odds on before tonight's four matches we've had. 4 contestants played tonight, but Liam Dunster going to be about an even money chance. Tomorrow, Corey Reese 5-2, but that's tomorrow. Tonight, big night, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. And the 4 players we've got coming up, it's going to be really interesting. I think it's a very tight group, and the 4 players that we've got on the screen now. Dan Davey, our very own commentator, played great in last night's action in the last group, and then we had Jamie Clark. He was the big outsider. Is he going to produce this on this stage again? Is he going to cause another upset?
It was 8-1 when he won the first round, wasn't he? 8-1.
I don't think so. One favourite for me is Tom Barley. I just think that this short race format, it suits him. And then we've got Andy Crosdale there. He was the best runner-up to get through to it. Yes, he got a back door into the event, but he deserves his place. You know, he had 4 points and a +4 average. So he's got his, he deserves to be here. And he's a good performer. And he had a great run in 2021. Can he have another good run in 2022?
Yeah, well, Dan Davey, they've gone 11 or 8. We're going to show you the odds now of our 4 players this evening. And Dan Davey was 11 or 8 to win this evening. Now, I know you said to me earlier you thought that 11 or 8 was miles too short about Dan Davey because you think Tom Barley should be near a favourite or joint favourites with Dan, and Jamie Clark 12-1. I thought that was ridiculous, I spoke to our legend commentator Jim White earlier and he thought 12-1 was miles too big as well. I thought he was 8-1 when he won last time. He's won. He's not up against the eye amount of the players this evening and the bookies have gone 12-1. But, do you ever see a poor bookie? Did he ever get it wrong?
Well, I always look at a poor bookie every time that I come into work, and obviously you're right in front of me now. But that's another story. But tonight, right, these betting partners, they didn't get it wrong last night. They got it completely right. But tonight, I think they've got it wrong. It should be a lot more closer. I think this group's wide open, and there's probably going to be a few more draws coming into motion throughout the stage of this night.
Mr. Knowledge now, isn't it? Mr. Knowledge
Absolutely.
now. Right, Mr. Knowledge, Dan Davey, 11 or 8 favourite. Why do you want to take him on? Look at his averages. Has he done anything wrong early? 4-0 against Mark Leatham, 4-1 against JJ Ford, the King of Manchester, and 3-3 against Craig Brown. What's he done wrong?
He hasn't done nothing wrong. He's unbeaten. I don't think he's been put to the test yet. But is he going to be put to the test tonight? Probably not. But he will be tomorrow, and he's going to have to pick up his game if he thinks he's going to be winning this Event 1. But look at his form. It's not the best of form, especially for a number 11 seeded player. He's only got 3 wins in the last 10, and 2 of them came in the previous night's group's action. But 47% win ratio in 2021 and a 52% in his career. That's probably one of the lowest professionals, but he's a bit out of form. But we saw him play pretty well the other night. So can he keep that up? Yes, he can. I think he's going to be okay.
He thinks he's going to win it.
Yeah, I think That's going to be a big ask when you've got Liam Dunster.
And how about Jamie Clark now? Jamie Clark, I said before, 8-1 when he won last week, now 12-1. You know, what do you think about Jamie?
Well, Jamie Clark, yeah, can he go to be another upset, to be the outsider once again get through? I just think it's another step too far for him. But he had wins against Paul Harkness and wins against Carl Clark, and he's already drawn against Andy Crosdale 3-3. So there's nothing much in it, and there really isn't much in it. No. There's no way that he should be that big of an outside, especially the way he played.
Well, Dan Fairway, our commentator this evening as well, he said earlier, he said there's no way in the world he should be 12-1. He said if he was 8-1 last week when he won, why has he gone 4 points bigger? But again, do the bookies get it right all the time? I don't know.
No, not at all. But Jamie Clark, the Shark, number 27 on the rankings, he's won 4 out of less 10 matches.
25%, that's low, isn't
and
it?
that's probably half the reason why he's these outsiders. But I just think you bookies have got it wrong tonight. I think it should be a lot closer. And 18% in the career. Yes, he's not had a great season, but we saw what he produced in there. If was any of them bookies that when they did these odds, were they watching these matches?
I like them words you said, you bookies. You'll be driving home in your Fiesta and I'll be driving home in my new Mercedes. But let's get on with Tom Barley, yeah? Tom Barley, 11-4 to win tonight. You think he should be favourite? Why?
I do, because he's got that style. And this short race format, I just think it suits his game.
Fearless.
It really does. Fearless. And he's already got a result against Mark Boyle. He's one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
Steve Thompson is a great professional player. Beat him 4-1 and then drew with Wade Morley. But he's another great amateur player. And Tom Barley, I think if he gets going tonight, he's going to be pretty unstoppable. He's somebody that can cause an upset.
I was talking to Tom early, fearless, you know, he can't wait for it to happen tonight, the action. Can't wait for this first game against Dan.
He's got nothing to lose. But the banger, 29 on the rankings.
Oh, 62%. I see why you think he should be favourite. And looking at them stats, Mark, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And 66% in the career. And he's got a 50% win record there. I think this format suits him. It really does. And I'm sticking up for him. He should not be first favourite to win this.
Be a cracking match, the first match. Andy Crosdale, 9-4 to win it tonight.
Yeah. And for that reason, you know, he's unbeaten, but he's got 2 draws. He's only got the 1 win against Paul Harkness. Can he? We never saw the best of Andy Crosdale in the previous group. He needs to bring his A game tonight now. He really does.
I think you will, though. I do think you will see the real Andy Crosdale turn up tonight. I really do. But he's 9-4 again. You know, he may be too short a price, but looking at them matches there, 3-3, 3-3, 4-0. He ain't done nothing wrong, has he, yet?
No. And when we look at his form, I mean, some of Andy Crosdale's form, it is pretty good. And, you know, in 2021, he's got a 73% win ratio. Don't get me wrong, it's like an amateur ranks, but that's a great win percentage. Yes, he's a qualifier. Yes, he's on the amateur ranks, but he's a very experienced player. But should he be second favourite? Not in my eyes. You think the way that he's played.
You think the odds tonight, the bookies, all our betting partners on Sporty stuff, you think they've made a few mistakes tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think
there's a few hot pots. You know, even we've got a match coming up now. Our next live match here, Dan Davey against Tommy Barley. Even money they go Dan Davey. Now you think that's too short, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I really do. Just, in this short race format, I think it's anybody's, and any of them 4 players, they all want to get to this event 1 final. They want to get there. They really do, and they're all capable of getting there.
And that tie, that draw at 9-4, 5-2, if you shop around, that could be big value tonight, because Mark said, including this match here, he don't think Dan should be an even money chance, do you? You know, Tom Barley really playing. Well, they're both playing well, aren't they?
Yeah, this is
really, in truth, these are the top. I know they go 9-4, Andy Crosdale, and 11-4, Tom Barley. But between the 3 of them, if you had the chalk in your hand, I don't think you'd know who to make favourite out of the 3 of them, because there's nothing in it, is there?
Flip of a coin.
Like your wallet, Mark, by the way. Right, anyway. Here we go in the first match. Here is the odds coming up here. We're going to get all the odds coming up here. Are we going to get the odds coming up if we can?
I mean, the first match, which we've already had, haven't we? We've had Jamie Clark against Andy Crosdale, and that's already gone. So the odds on that match now.
Can we tell the viewers what the score was?
Yeah, I mean, if they want to join us at 9 o'clock on YouTube, make sure you do it. It's tomorrow. It's the same time tomorrow. But Jamie Clark against Andy Crosdale, you know, that's ended 3-3. So both of these players are still in it. You know, if you lose that first match, you're near enough out. But they're both in it. So Dan Fairway's group.
So Dan Fairway's 12-1. Jamie Clark was big, wasn't it? Match 2, Tom Barley, Dan Davey. We've got that coming up live very shortly. Tom Barley, as I said, going to be 2-1. Dan Davey even money. pick a match?
Well, Dan Davey, Tom, I don't think there's a lot in it. I really don't. Yes, they've got a previous match there of 8-4 to Dan Davey, but this is a different race, so this could go anywhere.
Bit of 9-4 they're available as well, by the way, for if you shop around. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Have a 3-minute break, and we'll be back live with, I think, could be the match of the night. Match 2, Tom Barley against Dan Davey. Who's going to win? I don't know. He thinks Dan Davey could get beat.
Champions Cup Stage 2 Group B match, best of 6 frame. First frame, Tom Barley to break. Time running.
Great to have you back. And then a feature match for me. Two of the players in my mind that are looking to get through this group. And Dan, I know you're a big fan of these two players at the table right now, but the bookies, they may have just, given Tom Barley a little less credit than you and I might.
Yeah, possibly, Jim. I think this one's a lot closer than the Jamie Clark, Andy Crosdale one for me. I think that they were very harsh on Jamie. Dan Davey has more experience at the top level on the IPA. He is an open tour champion, and admittedly a few years ago now. But he does just have that edge for me over Tom in terms of experience. Now, Tom has made a televised final, having said that, back at the Masters a couple of years back. But yeah, he doesn't have the same experience on the IPA as Dan does. So I think Dan is probably a worthy favourite, but I agree with the boys in the studio. I think he's a bit too short on the overall odds.
And certainly Mark Pickworth feels that the short race favors Tom Barley a little bit more as well.
I think you could suggest probably that the short races favour the second favourite always, because the shorter the race, the less chance the better player, if you like, if you were to put it in those terms, has the chance to press home that advantage. So I think the short format suits the second favourite regardless, really.
Yeah, it was never going to be easy. Dan had a lot of problems that he had to work out. Our colleague, Dan Davey, Double D. I did the matches with him yesterday, and his insight is terrific. And I sometimes wonder, when you see a match from the commentary box, do you see the match quite as readily when you're out on center stage? I guess we're going to find out.
Dan's wasted out there for me, Jim. He should be in here all the time. I love Dan's commentary. I love commentating with him. I love listening to him commentate. I think he's fantastic. But he is also a fantastic player, and that's what makes him so good. He sees the shots that lesser players don't, and he's a much better player than his form would suggest and his recent tournaments.
Well, we know Tom Barley wastes little time, and he did there. The miss from Dan, and Tom quick to pounce. It's 1-0. Tom Barley over Dan Davey.
Yeah, going back to Dan and why I think he's a little underrated. He went through a period of time where he had no home club to practice in. He had nowhere really to practice in. So he'd rock up to events, having put no time in on the table at all. And he'd still do himself justice. He'd still do well. But I know that he's been putting the hours in more recent times. And I think that's about to start to show. I think Dan Davey is one to watch for the next couple of years. I hope so. I think he deserves it, because it wasn't his fault he didn't have anywhere to practice. It was just circumstances. So yeah, I think Dan is one to keep a keen eye on over the next couple of years.
Well, when he's not practicing, he's minding his cafe.
Dan Davey to break.
Down in Reading.
1-0.
They call it switch.
Time running.
So you can drop into switch and say hi to Dan. When he's not over the table, that's likely where he is.
The best pancakes in Berkshire, I'm told.
And a good break that time from Double D.
Yeah, it really is a cracking break from Dan. He'd really love a
10
red to start
seconds.
him off, but I don't think he's
Extension,
got one.
please.
He could play a long plant with the red above the cue ball. If not, he's causing himself huge problems later in the finish, but I think he's going to be forced into yellows here.
Both of these players will know the significance of this match in the early going, but it's a big one. A chance to really set your stall, if you will, because in a lot of players' minds and a lot of people's minds, two players that would be favored to progress here. So we'd really like to get the one up.
Yeah, winning this match is huge. A win in this match makes either of these two a huge favourite to go through. Dan's just studying the table, checking his options now. He could go into that red over the top left pocket from this, or try and disturb the yellow. He'd be reasonably happy with either. That's not bad, but he doesn't have an easy shot on the next yellow. He's caught the red thicker than he'd like. And he's only got, well, a couple of long balls or a very tough plant.
Yeah, that could have been kinder. Tricky plant here. And it's not getting any easier for him.
No, I know why he's played it at that pace, but I think he's overdone it a fraction. But he obviously felt like he couldn't play the plant in such a way that he was on that yellow next up. He's going to have to come back to that. That's going to be a terrifically hard positional shot.
Yeah, this will be the shot of the frame. If he can get that cue ball back to where he's holding his cue there, that'd be some effort.
That middle pocket looms a little bit large as well, Jim.
10 seconds.
Well, it was never going to be easy. But again, Dan leaving the table and handing the initiative over to Tom.
Yeah, you have to feel for him a little bit there, because really it was the skill shot earlier in the frame that cost him. He could have caught that that red half ball, thin snick, any way would be fine, but he just caught it absolutely plumb. And now he's left Tom Barley an easy finish. Credit to Tom though. He looks very confident out there. Hasn't put a foot wrong yet.
Yes, and very similar to Andy Crosdale, he wastes little time too. He sees the patterns. And for me, always a sign of confidence.
Frame.
Just like that, it's a 2-0 advantage. Tom Barley over Dan Davey. So Double D with it all to do. And the man they call the banger.
We
He's
saw
in
this in the
control.
first match, Jim. Jamie Clark was 2-0 down, pulled it back and finished with a 3-3 draw. I think that might be the best Dan can hope for from here. I think running out 4 on a trot against Tom Barley in the form he's in is asking perhaps a bit too much. Having said that, both players have had a chance in each frame, so neither one of them's really hit their stride yet.
And Tom out of his chair, he'll break in frame number 3.
Frame 3. Tom Barley to break, leading 2 frames to 0. Time running.
"27 years of age. He's the number 29 ranked player on the IPA Tour. And as I said, they call him the banger.
Yeah, I mean, that is a low ranking for his ability, and it's because Tom is essentially coming to the end of his
10
first year
seconds.
as a professional now.
Extension,
It's a
please.
2-year ranking list. Yeah, once he gets to the end of his second year, we'll have a better idea of where he fits in the IPA rankings, but I fully expect to see him inside the top 16. So it's perhaps a little unfair, that ranking of 29th.
And as strong as Tom is looking here, if you fancied Tom to win this group, you'd have got 11-4. All of a sudden, that isn't looking too bad.
Yeah, massive price. Ooh, oh, that one really wiped its feet. Now this is a key shot for Tom. Does this red sneak past the yellow? I think it does. Really, from
Hard
here,
work.
just the black to worry about.
Yeah, and tough to tell whether or not that black goes to the right center pocket. Let's see what Tom has in mind, because he's getting down to the business end of this frame now.
Well, if it doesn't, Jim, he can leave a nice angle here to drop onto it into the bottom right. You can use the yellow to the left of the black as a ball to drop onto, just to hold the cue ball up. Must go in the centre.
Frame.
Well, there's 3 frames in the books, and Tom Barley has won them all. 3-0 he leads Dan Davey, and he has secured at least a draw, but he'll be looking for a lot more than that. This is some kind of performance, Tom Barley.
Yep, Dan hasn't hit his strides at all, and Tom looks excellent so far. Hardly put a foot wrong in those opening 3 frames. To be honest, though, it's not all over for Dan, and Dan will take some heart in the fact that the first match was a draw. That keeps his hopes very much alive, because it's still really in his own hands if he wins his last 2. Worth remembering tonight that the top 2 go through, not just the top 1, so it opens up a lot more possibilities even if you have a bad match.
Frame 4. Dan Davey to break, trailing 3 frames to 0. Time running.
He desperately needs a good break.
Foul.
That's not what the doctor ordered, Jim.
1 free shot, 1 visit.
Rather harsh.
Time
You
running.
see that cue ball going back down the middle, and yellow just kicked it right into the corner pocket. It was like a kick in the teeth for Dan Davey.
Yeah. Not only is Dan not on the table, Tom has a free visit to do whatever he likes. That is the black ball rules. There you go. He's just freed up the black, and now, well, he's got his pick here, really. It's not the greatest first shot, but he could get through to that red over the bottom corner, so that made life easier. Really, just this red, and then they're all in the open. And Dan Davey is staring down the barrel of a 4-0 defeat.
And nothing short of a glaring mistake is going to halt Tom Barley's progress.
Yeah, I think he knows it, though. There was definitely a bit of tension in the arm on that last shot because it wasn't the best positional shot you'll ever see. Didn't cause him any lasting problems, though.
Well, he is looking full value, Tom Barley. And the banger handing out punishment fast and sure. 4-0 over Dan Davey. What a performance. And I wonder if that changes a few people's minds. Guys, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, Jim, that was Mark thought Dan Daly and Tom Barley, there was nothing in it before the match. You know, they went even money, Dan Daly there, but Tom Barley, you put up to win. You thought 11-4 was a massive price, didn't you, Mark, to win?
Yeah, it was, without a shadow.
Seeing that, what you've just seen there, you know, unbelievable. But as the first match, as Dan said, finished 3-3, it still gives Dan a chance, doesn't it? I said Dan Fairweather, commentator, he said it still gives Dan Daly a big chance if he wins his last two.
Yeah, it does, but losing 4-0, that is not going to be great for his average because he only can get 4 points now, but he's going to have to win his next two matches. He cannot afford a draw at all. He must win his final two matches to stand any chance of getting through to the Event 1 final. It's not a great start from Dan Davey, but Tom Barley, I did tell you about this boy, and wow, what a start from him.
Yeah, I know what you said before, but to see him do what he done there, 4-0, that was a shock in your eyes as well, was it?
Yes and no, but yes, it was very close. But Tom Barley, you can't take nothing away from the lad there. He's been superb, hasn't he?
Yeah, but Dan Davey, he's now sitting in his seat. He's waiting for his next match. He's playing against the Shark, Jamie Clark. It's 4-7, Dan Davey, for the prices. Is that value? You know, if you want to go onto betting partners now and have a little look, I'm just looking at my price here. Jamie Clark's 9-2. Now, you just see Dan lose 4-0. I still think Dan's got a big chance, but he's no 4-7 chance, is he? You know, if you want to get a bit of value, see what we're going to do. We're going to come back in about 3 minutes' time for match two. If Dan loses this match, he's on his way back to Reading.
Champions Cup Stage 2, Group B match, best of 6 frames. First frame, Dan Davey to break. Time running.
Jamie Clark versus Dan Davey is our third match on tonight's Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup, and it is a must-win for both players. Jamie Clark started his campaign tonight with a draw. Dan Davey with a crushing 4-0 defeat in his previous match to Tom Barley. Mark Pickworth is with me in the commentary box. Mark, can Dan recover?
Good evening, first of all, and yes, he must recover, because if he doesn't, he will be out of this tournament.
10 seconds.
If he's going to, you feel like this is the perfect opportunity to get off the board for the evening.
Yeah, I do, and I mean that's a pretty good break there from Dan Davey. And these are the chances he's going to have to take. I mean, he's just got to get that first match out of his mind because he didn't do too much wrong. Tom Barley just come out of the blocks pretty much like a whippet. And Dan Davey couldn't really do a lot about it. Got to take it on the chin, but he must win these next two matches.
Yeah, I mean, Dan missed a big chance at 1-0 down. He had a really good opportunity, didn't make the most of it. And from then on, he didn't really touch the table again and in off on the break. And that was that. So it's not all over yet for Dan, but he needs to find something and find it quick. And that's a slightly loose positional shot. This is going to be a very awkward cut back on this yellow.
Yeah, just talking about some of the group standings that have happened in the first stage. There was only one player who got 3 points and sort of came second in the group. For me, you need at least 4 points to stand any chance of coming second in the group. So remember, there is 2 places up for grabs, but Dan Davey, for me, has got to win these final 2 matches.
Yeah, the one note of caution I would probably throw into that, whilst I completely agree with what you're saying, I think he needs 4 points. I think in this stage, you've got 4 players here per group who are now used to this stage. They're used to the table. They've been in this arena before. And I think these second stage groups are a bit closer than the first ones.
Frame.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It really is. We know how good Dan Davey is. We know what a performer he is. We know how experienced he is. But he's got to get off running. He really has. And he can't be letting Jamie Clark get as many chances as he did in that first match.
Well, he certainly has got off and running. There is our league table at the moment. Tom Barley sitting pretty at the top. Jamie Clark and Andy Crosdale essentially in joint second at the moment, having just drawn. Dan Davey propping them up at the bottom, but he has got off to the perfect start in this match. It's a break dish. He leads Jamie Clark by 1 frame to 0. It's Jamie to break next up.
Frame 2. Jamie Clark to break, trailing 1 frame to 0. Time running.
Jamie's put every sinew of his body into that break. Real venom on the face of the shark. And it's just about worked out for him. One of the last balls rolling into that top middle pocket from this camera angle.
Yeah, it has. And that's one of the things I've been very impressed with Jamie. For this Champions Cup, it looks like he's been putting a bit of time in on his break. And the break seems to be working for him now. And look, I mean, look at that. They've opened up pretty well. They're not bad.
Yeah, it's ironic, really, that the one break that he was dry in his first match was the one he actually won on his break. He wasn't able to complete any single visit clearances in match 1.
10 seconds.
Looking at the way these yellows are set out, you feel like he needs to here, because these are going to be an easy chance for Dan Davey if he gets back to the table, and he is coming back to the table.
Yeah, he is, and this is another missed pot. I mean, we've seen Jamie Clark miss quite a few pots in that first match, but got away with it. Is Dan Davey going to let him off? I don't think so. He really not.
10 seconds.
I do think Dan is less likely to let you off than Andy, and I don't mean that as a sign of disrespect to Andy. I just think Andy's such a flamboyant player.
Wow.
I'm being made to eat my words live on air, so if Andy is listening, I'm sure he'll be laughing away.
Yeah, and I'm sure he is listening. I mean, Dan Davey, that is a real poor error there. And Jamie Clark, he seems to be getting chances back every time. And a great opening pot there, and he's back in this. He can level this match up now.
I mean, it wasn't the easiest chance that for Dan, but you didn't really see him missing that plant.
No, you didn't, but he's just been rattled by the banger. 4-0. That's going to take some recovering from.
It is. Can Jamie Clark stall that recovery, though? This isn't easy. The middle of the 3 reds is really quite awkward. I think it goes into the left centre, but it's a tough positional shot to get on that from this angle. He's tried to move it. It's not bad.
No, you say that's pretty perfect. Just got to roll this through, and he's going to have a straight red, and he'll be on and off that far right hand cushion, and he should have a simple enough black. You don't even have to come off the cushion. Just come back far enough to give yourself a shot. A little bit tougher than he wanted, but chance to level this match up now.
Frame.
and level it he does. Jamie Clark levels the scores at 1 frame apiece. Dan Davey, will he be made to rue that missed opportunity? Both players with a visit in that frame, and it's Jamie who comes away with the chalk mark in the W column. 1 apiece. Yeah, Dan's got to get his head sorted, doesn't he, Mark? He just doesn't quite look right to me. No,
and he has just been rattled there by Tom Barley. But what Dan needs to do, he needs to win these matches pretty well. He can't afford a 4-2 win. He's got to get this average back. As I said in the studio with Gary, it's that 4-0. That is a -4 average already, and he's got to get he needs a 4-1 at least here for me.
Yeah, he needs to hope that Tom Barley continues to play like
Dan Davey
he did against him, against everyone else as well.
Frame all.
That would be the best outcome for Dan Davey now. Hammer blow break from Dan Davey. If only that yellow in the balk area was out in the open, Mark.
Yeah, it would be straightforward. I mean, I don't think it passes to the top left-hand corner. It might do at a glance, but it is super tough shot.
10 seconds.
And like you said, if that yellow was in the open, it would be pretty much straightforward. But he's seeing it. He's obviously going to have to try and develop this red in the balk area.
I don't think he really had a choice there in terms of yellow or reds. It was, the yellows are so much easier. You've got the 2 reds on the right-hand side. Just the 1 awkward yellow. He's left himself an angle now to move it potentially. He's going to be swinging this off that top cushion and hopefully into the back of the yellow. Just like that. Well, it's just one tough pot now, Mark.
Yeah, he just needs to keep himself steady now. Just get everything out of his mind and just cue straight through. He just needs to leave himself a shot now of that one into the right centre. He'll have a choice of either ball, really. Just make sure this pot, key shot.
It's a test of nerve, which Dan Davey has passed with flying colours. A terrific pot. Not the ideal angle on his next ball. There is still some work here to be done.
Extension, please.
Yeah, there is. I mean, if it all depends on what angle he's got here, how he sees fit. I mean, he could just stun it in and play that yellow into the top pocket. He could like stun past it and play it into the right centre. He's got options. Or he could even just drop on it. And I didn't think he had that option. I thought he was sort of too acute to drop on it. So
he's the wrong side though, isn't he? He's got a huge positional shot now. Or does this? Oh, the yellow next to the red. Does that pass into the bottom right?
Yeah, it does. I saw it on a camera angle earlier, and he can take it now.
That's quality. That is perfect weight on the cue ball from Dan Davey.
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, it looks like he's left himself a bit of hampered cue in here. A little bit careless. But 1, I expect him to get.
And he duly delivers. Dan Davey retakes the lead. He now leads Jamie Clark by 2 frames to 1. Jamie Clark yet to have a visit off Dan's break. And if Dan's going to win this match, he'd love to keep that statistic going. Of course, Jamie's breaks have been going pretty well as well, Mark. So Dan's still reliant on an error here from Jamie Clark in one form or another.
Yes, he is. And we know that Jamie Clark, he does have errors in him. But he's going to be a little bit upbeat from that last match against Andy Crosdale. So he feels that he's got a chance of going through here. You know, 3-1 down in that match, and he'd come back to level it up at 3-3. He was definitely nervous at the start of that match, but don't get me wrong, he's definitely settled now.
A draw isn't quite as fatal for Jamie Clark, is it? Because he's still got, you know, he could still get to 4 points, and 4 points may well be enough to see him through. So Jamie would come away from this match with a draw, I would imagine, quite happily.
Yeah, he would. And we've already spoke about it. We think 4 points could be enough to get through as a runner-up.
Well, it may need to be for Jamie Clark after that break, because that is a pretty good break, but nothing down. Dan Davey comes
10
to the
seconds.
table. He's only really got yellows to go at, but I'm fairly sure that's the choice he may have made if he had the chance anyway. Just that yellow on the far right in the bottom half, isn't it, Mark? That is a tricky ball.
Yes, it is. But there is a yellow that's just below that black spot there. He's going to have to use that somehow to develop that yellow, or at least move a red out of the way so we can pot it into the bottom right-hand corner. So he'll be thinking about that now. Does he leave it to his last balls? That's very risky. But he might not have an option. He might just have to leave it to his last couple of balls.
Yeah, he's kind of fenced himself in the top half of the table now.
Extension,
He
please.
could leave an angle similar to the one he's got now on the yellow on the balk line. You can see him pointing his cue there. If he could come off the cushion and run into that red, well, he's going to play it now. I like this shot. It's brave.
Well, that's not bad at all, Dan. And you said it's brave. These are the shots that these top players have got to produce, and they've got to produce them at the right times. And when your back's against the wall, this is what you've got to do. And Dan Davey, well played there. Could get him back into this to get him a chance of getting in this Event 1 final on Tuesday tomorrow.
10 seconds.
Yeah, I think for Dan there, the shot was a bit of a toss-up. He was concerned probably about leaving that yellow in the top half of the table, in the balk area. Because he's left it there, he does now have a bit more mileage to do with the cue ball. He's got to go back down the table and then come back. But it does look like it's worked out well for him. He took the risk on. I think it's paid dividends.
10 seconds.
Looks like he's just overdone it a little bit. This cue ball's probably going to be doing a few more miles. So how is he going to hold this? Has he got too much angle? Just needs
Has the table slowed down ever so slightly from our first few matches, Mark? As we know, as the table beds
10
in, if
seconds.
you like, as it sort of wears down, it does slow up a little bit, and that might work to Dan's advantage here.
Yeah, it might, but also that nice flick might work to his advantage even better. Yeah, I don't think any of the players have commented on the table running any slower. I think they're all always getting caught out with it.
Really was a delightful little flick off that red. If you're a Dan Davey fan, I'm sure there'll be plenty watching at home in Reading. And they may well be cheering now. Dan Davey on the hill. He leads 3 frames to 1. Jamie Clark needs the last 2 frames to salvage a draw from this match. And it's a tall order now, isn't it, Mark? Because Dan looks like he's in the mood all of a sudden.
Yeah, he does. And, I mean, this is what can happen. I mean, when a good player's got his back against the wall, it can just turn the switch, turns him on, and then all of a sudden, he's back in the match.
When you say turn the switch, I do hope you weren't plugging Dan's Cafe, which is the switch.
Well, I have been. Oh, there's an envelope of money here, so it must be mine. I'm only kidding. Yeah, Dan Davey, he's back in this group now. He'd love just to polish this off now and get this 4-1 win. And a 4-1 win is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Dan Davey to break, leading 3 frames to 1. Time running.
Well, his break certainly hasn't been letting him down so far tonight. It's been superb. Until now. The shark is coming back to the table. Does he smell blood?
Well done. It was a good enough break, isn't it? And both the sets of these balls, they've all got pockets. He's electing these reds. See that red on the side cushion there? That's going to be his hardest ball. But even that's not very hard. And he can just leave the ones in the top half of the table pretty much till the end.
Yeah, I want to be attacking that red that you pointed out next up. Didn't quite have the angle to get perfect on it, so this is now a huge shot. We've seen a couple similar to this missed so far tonight. This isn't easy.
Well,
He's made it look it.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty easy there for Jamie Clark, and I have seen Jamie Clark have one of them shots already tonight, and he nailed that one as well. So he stepped his game up a little bit, and he, 3-1 down again. Can he come back to do a draw once again? He's not going away, is he, Jamie Clark?
He's not, and assuming that red passes to the top right, which it must do, he's played that to perfection as well. Really clear thinking from Jamie Clark. It's going to keep him in this match, I think.
Yeah, it is, but he hasn't got the nicest of angles here. I mean, I don't think he can just drop this in and leave that red into the left centre. I think it's going to be a tough pot on that one in left centre if he
10
does.
seconds. Extension, please.
Yeah, it's a slightly more acute angle than it looks from the main camera angle when you look on the overhead.
Yeah, so this pot is a little bit tougher, but also he's running away from the black. He's near enough, so needs to drop this in and go around the angles. He's
overcut that. Jamie Clark may have just played his last shot of this match, because Dan Davey comes to the table with pretty much a practice routine on yellows.
Yeah,
the furthest left of the yellows doesn't go into the left centre. That's the only real, even half problem that I can see, Mark.
Yeah, we've got to see he's going to close this match out now. And for me, Jamie Clark just played that a little bit negative. He should have really punched that in and gone round the top two angles, and it would have sent a message to Dan to say, look, I'm here, I want this point. And he just tried to drop it, and I don't think that was the right shot. But pressure, it can do strange things to you, especially in this game. It's pretty unforgiving. And now he's on this tougher yellow that you've already mentioned, and you can't see an error here from Dan Davey.
Dan Davey's going to be sat down watching the next match, I can guarantee that. And he will be cheering on his adversary from the previous one, Tom Barley, because if Tom Barley wins his next match, if he beats Andy Crosdale, it puts Dan Davey in pole position for his last match against Crosdale.
I wouldn't say he's perfect on this one, Dan, but you just think he's just got to go on and off the cushion, and he'll be leaving himself at least a shot.
Yeah, nicely, really nicely played. I think Dan was wary of under-hitting that shot. I think if he under-hit it, then he could have given himself problems. But by just over-hitting it a fraction, no such dramas. And now it's just the case of the simple black to record a 4-1 victory and probably end Jamie Clark's hopes of progressing through to tomorrow's final. In it
frame
goes.
on the match.
Dan Davey
Dan
is our
wins 4
winner
frames to
in
1.
the third match of stage 2 of the Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup. He beats Jamie Clark by 4 frames to 1. A superb performance in the end, but Jamie will rue those missed chances. Let's see what the boys in the studio make of that match.
Well, I'll tell you what we make of that, Dan. There's so much pressure this evening, isn't it? Second semi-final night, and Dan Davey there. You've got to take your hat off to him there. You know, when it went 1-0, I thought, yeah, 1-1, and then all of a sudden he's pulled it out the hat, and he had to win that, didn't he, Mark?
And he had to win it by a margin. He needs to get this average back. You know, losing that first match 4-0, he had his back against the wall there, and wow, what a performance from Dan Davey. He is back in this group now. But is Jamie Clark out of this? Probably not. But yeah, he's only got 1 point out of 2. It's going to be a tight group.
I can't see Jamie now progressing any further.
You can't, but there's a lot of twists and turns that could possibly happen. But if Tom Barley wins this next one, it's in Tom Barley's hands to win this group.
But Dan Davies cheering on Tom Barley, isn't he? Because if he wins, he's got a fantastic chance in his last match, isn't he, Dan? It's great tonight, isn't it? I know it's semi-final night, but the excitement, you can feel it in here even, you know, and from the arena there, it's just fantastic tonight, isn't it? So our next match, who we got next, Mark?
Well, who have we got? Andy Crosdale against Tom Barley, and this is going to be an absolute cracker.
Opinion?
I think Dan Davey wants a draw. Jamie Clark wants a draw. We want a draw because of the drama, and it's going to go right down to the very last.
I don't think Dan Davey wants a draw. I think he wants Tom Barley to win, because if Tom Barley wins, it's going to be easy at rim. I'll tell you what we do. If you want to play on the next match, you've got 3 minutes before we come on our next match live. Look for them odds on Sporty Stuff TV. Look for our bookmakers. There's sure to be some value there.
Champions Cup Stage 2, Group B match, best of 6 frames. First frame, Andy Crosdale to break. Time running.
Well, it's really starting to heat up here now. A vital match. Tom Barley, Andy Crosdale. And I believe that Mark Pickworth has stuck around to help me out. Mark, this is a very key match. Tom Barley, he can punch his ticket right here.
Yeah, he can, and if he gets a win here against Andy, he's pretty much cemented into the next round. Well, he is cemented into the next round. He cannot be caught into any of them top 2 places. But Andy Crosdale, this is seconds. Like, he must win this. He's to stand any chance of getting to that next round, and missing that on the far edge is not a great start to this match.
One thing about it, these two play similar styles. They really go for it. When the balls are in the open, they fire from the hip.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, Jim. Once again, these are very fluent players. And I mean, it's a great match to watch. It really is. That one's just wobbled in there from Tom Barley, though. I wonder what's going through Tom Barley's mind. You know, he thinks that it's in his own hands. It really is. And if he loses these next 2 matches, he will never forgive himself. But he's playing some great stuff tonight.
Well, he knows he's got that massive win over the favorite Dan Davey. So here, everything's it's in his hands.
Yeah, it is. And he needs to get this positional play up to scratch. This leaving these mid-range, well, quite long-distance pots, and not great, but he's nailed that one. And wow, what a positional shot that is.
Superb effort, that one from Tom.
Yeah, and he's wasting no time to get this first frame on the board. After that, Andy Crosdale missed into the middle pocket. And there you see it, 1-0 ahead already. Took 5 frames on the bounce.
He's putting the heat on Andy now. He's showing him what he's up against. And it'll be down to Andy to try and reply in kind in frame 2. But Tom Barley, they call him the banger. He really is in prime position in this group. And there you see exactly what we've just alluded to. He hasn't lost a frame yet. Won his first one against Dan Davey, 4-0. But this is all, the controls are right there for him. He's just got to punch the right buttons.
Yeah, any win sees him guaranteed through. That's all he needs. A draw. It means he'll have to play his next match against Jamie Clark, and he will need a result there as well.
Frame 2. Tom Barley to break, leading 1-0. Time running.
Few people felt that Tom represented terrific value before this started. 11-4 you could have got on him winning the group. You'd like to be on that now.
Extension, please.
And this is just about cue ball control. The yellows are all attainable. Just got to keep that white under wraps.
Yeah, he certainly has. I mean, that first positional shot there was first class. Now, I mean, these yellows are a little bit tightly knit together. He's going to have to obviously find some pockets for him. Not many of them go into these bottom corners.
He looks in menacing form, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does. And he just floats the white ball around the table. And when he's on, he's brilliant to watch. He really is. He's definitely one of the up-and-coming players on the IPA. And he's going to have... It's definitely going to be interesting to watch how he progresses in this next season coming up.
I'm not sure what his plan is for the last yellow. He's just going to try and leave a path to it. And you can see it. It does cut to the bottom right. Very difficult shot, though. This could have been a lot easier.
Yeah, and if I've got anything negative to say about Tom Barley, it is his positional play, but his potting ability is second to none. But resting on that black, what's he going to do now? I think it's going to be touching ball. Yes, it is. Our referee, Brian Moss, just says it's touching ball, so he's going to have to play away from this black ball.
Well, he's not the favorite in this frame anymore. So many options for Jamie here, or for Andy, sorry. He really just lacks positional shot from Tom, but he left himself a lot to do. And he's going to be looking at a few snookers.
Foul. 1 free shot, 1 visit. Time running.
And Andy will waste little time too.
Yeah, he's already got his route planned out. He knows which way he's going. And he's just developed them 2 reds into the open. And it should, like you say, waste no time in clearing these up.
Matches like this I always find very entertaining because they both think so quickly. I mean, you're going to get the odd mistake from them. Something like what you saw from Tom in the last visit, just a lax positional shot, didn't get on the black as intended, but left himself a little too much to do. But Andy, very similar style, just goes for it when they're there. but it's exciting. I'm betting where these two guys grew up playing, Mark, that pool time was very expensive.
Yeah, I bet there was never off the table. Definitely not. But yeah, it's been. They are great to watch, and when they're flowing,
Frame.
it's going to be tremendous.
1-1. And the excitement, the drama will build as they go hand in hand towards the finish line here. And you can bet that Dan and Jamie are probably in the practice room watching the monitor. Dan with a little bit more interest, I think. Jamie will be coming up next. He'll be opposing Tom Barley, who's going to stay out there. And for me, that always, depending on how this match concludes, that can either favor Tom or it can put him in a negative frame of mind. It just depends how this one ends up.
Yeah, it does, because if he loses this, the pressure will be on him in the next one, because he cannot
Frame
afford
3.
to drop any points.
Andy
He
Crosdale
really
to
cannot.
break.
He needs to get
Score
to that
tied 1 frame all.
4-point target.
Time running.
Yeah, shake of the head. He hasn't found the secret to the break. Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he struck him well enough, but Tom Barley straight away developing these red balls. Just that one on that top cushion, he's just going to have to work out. He's going to sort of have to navigate himself around, but you just can't see him failing from here.
Ten seconds.
Just have to guard against those unforced errors that can creep in. As good a potter as he is, he really isn't as tidy controlling that white as we've seen from other players, most notably players like Liam Dunster, who has that white ball on a string.
Yeah, he does. But even Liam Dunster, he can go out of position at times. And look at the way that Tom, he's pulled himself back into this with that great positional shot there. What's he done here? Is he underhit this? He has. Looks like he's only going to have a double on. And that is careless.
Yeah, case in point. It's like we said, he's just, if he has one flaw in his game, it's cue ball control. That's the second time that he's lost it. And it might well cost him this frame too. And just getting back to Liam Dunster and Corey Reese, well, they're already through to tomorrow's final, awaiting 2 players to make up the group of 4 that'll be coming from today.
Yeah, and that just, as Andy's just potted that ball, that little nudge on that yellow ball. I mean, it made him into a plant, but he's going a different route. But a pretty straightforward route, to be honest. And he looks like he's going to take the lead in this match now.
Well, they call him Crowy. He wants to be the one crowing after this one is done. a 9-4 shot to win the group before it started.
Let's not forget, Jim, Andy Crosdale, he's still unbeaten in this Champions Cup. Yes, he's had 3 draws,
Frame.
but he's unbeaten.
Terrific clearance there. Got the mistake and duly applied the punishment. 2-1 in front of Tom Barley. And he'll sit and watch Tom break in frame number 4. Tom just weighing up in his mind. I wonder if he's going to change his braking tactic. I mean, that's the only things you can change from the brake.
Tom Barley to break.
The speed with which you brake and the position that you
running.
decide to attack the triangle balls at. And so far, neither one has enjoyed any success at all. So it really is a shootout, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And you've got to think, Andy Crosdale, if he wins this match, he'll be on 3 points and he'll be top of that table. So it will be in his hands then in his last match against Dan Davey. This group is definitely getting exciting now. One good positional shot here, Jim. And well, that red just passed into the bottom left-hand corner. I thought it was a little bit tighter, but the way it just dropped on it there, it must go easy. And this is looking like 3-1.
One thing's for certain, if you're Tom Barley, the pain doesn't last long. Yeah, he's got to be a little careful here, unless that black passes to the center, and it does. So straightforward, really. I wasn't sure it went, but right now, Andy is flying high. Andy Crosdale, 3-1 in front, assures himself at worst a draw over Tom Barley. That's what's coming next. Jamie Clark will be up against Tom. Tom will stay out there. And that match could well take on added significance.
Yeah, and the result of that match will send at least one of them home. Or will it send them both home? It's still a lot to play for. I think we're going to definitely be going down to this last match to see who wins this group between Dan Davey and Andy Crosdale. Well, Andy Crosdale, great performance here. Tom Barley, he's had chances in this,
Andy
and that
break,
positional shot
leading 3 frames
has
to 1.
probably cost him this
Time
match.
running.
Yeah, on 2 separate instances, he looked like he was going to secure the frame and just lost the cue ball. Andy would like to let Tom break. Well, this is another chance for Barley, the man they call Banger. You've already noted that he's the 29th ranked player, but that'll be changing. He's much better than that number.
Yeah, He certainly is, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing him definitely get into the top 20 quite easily in this coming season.
They play so similar, these two. Just waste little time.
No, they don't. And it's going to be Tom Barley to break in the final frame if he clears these up. What's he done with the white ball again? This is nerves. He's feeling it. 3-1 down. The heat is on.
This will be the third time in succession. When he looks like the clearance is there, he's lost the white. Well, he's got himself out for the moment, but there's still no pocket that's calling this black. That was a game effort at a double cross center, but it was a tall order.
Yep, great effort there from Tom, but he's just going to be in heaps of trouble here. I mean, yes, it's only a one cushion escape, but he needs to hit this black. And is there a possibility if he hits this, it'll double?
Well, he gave it the heave-ho. And now everything's there for Andy. Yeah, a little shake of the head. I think he wanted to get that red out a little further than he did, so he may just tuck him up behind it once again. This is a big frame. Would see him 4-1, a winner.
Yeah, he would, and a +3 average would be pretty good for Andy Crosdale. But Tom Barley still keeps getting out of these snookers. It don't look like he's left an easy red on here, I don't think, apart from the one in the top left. He's going to try and hide the cue ball again, I should say.
Total snooker.
Well, he keeps hitting it, as you noted, Mark. I'll tell you what, he's calling all pockets there.
Yeah, and sooner or later, he is going to get one of them if he keeps hitting it. So this is why Andy feels now that this is the chance. And if he's pretty straight on this, he can just roll this through for his tough ball, and it should be straightforward now.
Oh, where's the white?
Foul.
Oh,
One
my
free shot, one visit.
goodness. Who'd believe that? Just when it looked like it was all over, the cue ball finds gravity in the form of that side pocket. What about that? How's that? Talk about a let-off. 3-2 when it looked like 4-1 was a certainty. Andy Crosdale still one frame in front, but what could have been? Is he capable of putting all those negative thoughts out of his mind to try and secure this final frame that would get him the draw? That draw would certainly look pretty good on Tom Barley's score sheet. But what a turn of events.
Yeah, Jim, that's incredible. I mean, how much is that going to play a part now in the way that this league table comes out now? Tom Barley, he looks like he's got an extra life. And he's going to be breaking in this next frame.
And I mean, each frame also weighs into the final
frame.
formula, doesn't it?
Tom Barley to break. Trailing 3 frames.
Wouldn't it be
to
odd
2.
if you looked back
running.
and just that one single frame that it looked like Andy Crosdale had it? Well, he's going to get back to the table sooner rather than later. Man, the break has just been horrible for both players in this match.
Time running.
Yeah, it has, but that's unforgivable, that break there from Tom. You know, as a pool player, that is a poor break to near enough screw into the top right-hand corner. It's not great. But Andy Crosdale, another chance to win this match.
10 seconds. Extension, please.
Yeah, this is the most time you'll see Andy take over any decision. Looks like it's going to be... Well, he's just clearing the path, tying up the yellow, so he's going to take reds. Good thinking shot there. Kind of bought himself a little bit of insurance. Should have missed. Find its way into his game.
Yeah, you can't see him missing from here. I mean, there's only the black that's going to be any sort of problem for him, especially if he leaves the balls in the bottom half of the table till the end, which he's going to have to. Yeah, you really can't see much else going wrong for him here.
Now, just about holding your nerve, isn't it?
Just this shot now, key positional shot, just needs to drop it in.
Not the easiest of blacks. Bottom left for the win. Oh, what a shot from Andy Crosdale there, and what a time to pull it out. It's a 4-2 win over Tom Barley, and a much-needed win puts him in the driver's seat in the group pairing here. What a match. Now, it's really tough to call who's going to come through here. Boys, what have we got to say about this?
Well, we've got a new leader, Jim. Remember what Andy Crosdale, he tops the... I've been looking at him myself here, and I think the last match, if Tom Barley wins this match, he's got 4 points, and the last match is going to be absolutely... If Dan and Jamie Crosdale there, it's going to be pick'em, isn't it? Whoever wins that last match.
Yeah, it is. It is going down to that last match.
To the wire.
It's got to. And I mean, this next match is really important for Tom. Tom has to win this next match against Jamie Clark. He needs to win it.
He's on 2.
Yeah, if a draw is no
he's
good.
on 4. So that means he goes through to the final, doesn't he, if he has 4? Because the last match is going to be really close, isn't it? Look at the leaderboard here. Where do we go from here, Mark?
You know, I said from the very start this was going to be close. It really was. Dan Davey, he's going to be playing Andy Crosdale in the last match. It's in Andy Crosdale's hands now. A draw will see him through to the next round. Tom Barley, it's sort of still in his hands. He's got that. Remember, he's on a +2 difference, and that 4-0 loss to Dan Davey's 4-0 loss to Tom Barley. Is that going to prove crucial tonight?
Well, Dan's got to win the last match, hasn't he?
He has got to win the last match.
If he doesn't win, he's gone.
He's
but
going.
Like if this match is really the last 2 matches here we've got tonight on semi-final night. It could go either way, couldn't it? It's absolutely down to the wire tonight. It's fantastic, isn't it? So what we'll do, we'll come back in about 3 minutes' time, and we'll have the next match. This is so exciting tonight. It's fantastic.
Champions Cup Stage 2, Group B match, best of 6 frames. First frame, Tom Barley to break. Time running.
Well, all the different permutations are going to be becoming crystal clear very soon. Tom Barley, Dan Davey, and Andy Crosdale, the only 3 that can progress out of this group. Jamie Clark is pretty well done. And he's up against Tom right here.
I'm not sure I agree with you fully there, Jim. I don't think Jamie's done at all. If Jamie wins this match, then he will get to 3 points. And if Andy were to beat Dan in the last match, then Jamie would go through in second.
He would go ahead of Tom?
Yeah, because Jamie would have 3 points and Tom would have 2. So it's still all to play for all of these players.
As you're talking, I'm looking at my score sheet. I'm trying to weigh up the math in my head, and I didn't give Jamie a chance. Are you saying if he wins 4-0 or even just a win?
Just a win. Just a win will put him in second going into the last match, because he'd be on 3 points and the other, Tom and Dan, would be on 2. So if Dan didn't pick up a point in his last match, then yeah, Andy Crosdale could send Dan Davey and Tom Barley home if Jamie Clark wins here.
Well, that's incredible. I had Jamie out. I had him basically making up the numbers.
No, not yet. That's not the best shot, though, from Jamie Clark. He's left a really awkward table for Tom.
Total snooker.
I don't know about that one. I know that Tom's got the snooker there, but actually this is quite an easy yellow to hit and pot for Jamie. And if he does... Oh, he's under hit it. Oh, that was so close.
Yeah, the last match, I don't know if you caught a chance to watch it, but Tom, on a number of occasions, looked like he was clearing up to win a frame and kept losing the cue ball, and it proved very costly.
Yeah, so far tonight, certainly in that second match, Tom Barley's had his cue ball on a piece of elastic, hasn't he? It's been all over the shop.
And the break has not been kind to anybody yet.
No, not really. Dan Davey broke well in his last match. Had a couple of break dishes from his breaks, which bodes very well for him going into the Andy Crosdale match, of course. But yeah, this is not over yet. This is a really interesting frame because this is all about, for Tom Barley at least, that red closest to the bottom right-hand corner. Oh, has he gone in off?
Foul.
Well. Things have really come unstuck for Tom Barley. I mentioned that he was staying out to play Jamie Clark in this one, and that depending on how the last match turned out, what sort of frame of mind he'd be in. And right now, looking at Tom in his chair, I think that picture says it all.
Yeah, Tom kind of needs to get his act together, really, because Tom can guarantee his passage through with a win here, as far as I can tell. So he really needs to shape up and shape up fast. But Jamie Clark won't be affording him the opportunity to do that in this first frame, I wouldn't have thought. Now Jamie can take this yellow above the cue ball long to the top right. It's the trickier pot, but it pretty much guarantees the frame.
Well, it's going to be very hard for Tom Barley to try and stave off all these body blows. Stay positive, but that's a big win. First frame to Jamie Clark. I had him done and dusted. Apparently he's in with a chance, but he needs a win desperately.
Well, unless my maths are wrong, Jim, and it has been known. But no, I'm pretty confident that Jamie can still go through here, but he will need a favour from Andy Crosdale if he does win.
Well, we can't wait to get at him now. Eager. As our referee puts the triangle together. Everything touching. Get a total displacement of reds and yellows.
Frame 2. Jamie Clark to break. Leading 1 frame to 0.
Jamie Clark's break's
Time
been
running.
pretty good tonight. Not perfect. Love a good one here. He certainly struck them well. Wow. That's a great break. He's
One of
hit
the better
those
ones
so
we've
pure.
seen. Yeah, definitely one of the better ones that we've seen.
10 seconds. Extension, please.
You feel probably a little bit aggrieved that the black is covering that top left pocket. It's kind of forcing his hand into going on reds. All the reds do have a pocket though. The tricky looking one in the middle of the table that looks like it's welded to that yellow, well, that will go into the right centre. So it's not a bad chance, this. He hasn't got a perfect angle here though. He may choose to disturb that red and yellow. If he could get into those, he's pretty much guaranteed to land on the red near the black spot.
Ten seconds.
Decides
And
against.
anywhere,
Jim.
sorry, Dan, anywhere on the left-hand side of the table will afford an opportunity to the black as well.
Yeah, you would think so. He's got to be careful with that position on the black. It's a slightly narrow window, but what's he done there? He's tried to pinch the pocket. Tried to hold for that red into the right centre. Well, that's disastrous for Jamie Clark.
Ten seconds.
Big opportunity for Tom, though.
How's he
We'll see if
found
he
that
can
gap?
kind of straighten things out.
How has he ever found that gap between the black and the yellow with that last shot? Trying to break out that yellow. I don't think he can quite believe it. He's got to move that black or that yellow at some point.
10 seconds.
He's just going to try and cover the pocket. That's pretty good. Turns the table over to Jamie and says, well, show me what you can do.
You see Jamie's eyes back and forth, looking for options. There aren't many there.
10 seconds. Total snooker.
Well, he decided to throw his cue at that one and try and get that black matured. Obviously, it didn't happen. And now he's in big trouble.
10 seconds.
Terrific effort. He's struck it so well, but as you say, it's not gone well for Jamie. Oh, he's underhit that as well.
Foul. 1 free shot, 1 visit. Time running.
Well, I don't know if he was aiming for the red over the pocket or the red in the centre of the table. I suspect the red in the centre of the table. Just given Tom a shot to open things up, but that's still a tricky little area in the top left corner of the table. He's got to take that in the right order. And as you've mentioned before, Jim, Tom's cue ball has not been great tonight. So these aren't over yet.
Well, you really can't see him failing now. Little hampered with his cueing here, but natural path was coming down for this yellow bottom table. And that's a better performance from Tom Barley there. He needed that frame. Get it? He did. 1-1. 6 to be played, and everyone counts.
Yeah, Jamie Clark will look on that missed red in the bottom left as the opportunity was gone begging in that frame. Just tried to pinch the pocket a little bit too much. These pockets play quite generously, it's fair to say. New cloths, slick cloths, slidey cloths. They do tend to drop, but you can't take too many liberties with them, and that is what Jamie Clark did there. It's allowed Tom Barley right back into this match. There's still all to play for though, for both these players. Jamie's got to hope Tom's luck on the break continues, or lack
Frame
of,
3.
rather.
Tom Barley to break. Scores tied 1 frame all. Time running.
A little better. At least a ball down. And break cue replaced. We'll see what he can conjure up.
10 seconds. Extension, please.
Yeah, I think conjure is the right word as well, Jim. There's no obvious pattern. Reds or yellows here. And I'm not sure that shot's made life easier. He's moved a difficult yellow into a, well, similar spot. Really, the two furthermost right of the yellows, they're very awkward. The one in the middle of the table doesn't go right centre, doesn't go bottom right. I'm not even convinced it gets past the black to go bottom left. Well, what's
Now,
happened
has
there?
that cue ball glued itself to the red? No, he's getting down and cueing at the yellow. It's close.
Yeah, but what can he do with it? Well, he's just tried to take a bit of control. I'm not convinced it's worked, because even if he has covered that red into the bottom right, Jamie could play red onto red, play it as a sort of carom shot. The fact that he's
10
not
seconds.
even looking at that suggests to me that
Extension,
red
please.
probably goes past the yellow anyway, which makes his only real problem the one closest to the right centre.
Yeah, he's looking at the tricky red now off the other red. Gain control of this corner. He's done that.
Yeah, looks like it's in the pocket just about far enough. Sometimes those gaps can be deceptive though, Jim. But however deceptive the gap, the yellow is just knocked onto the right side cushion. That makes life a lot more difficult. He's going to try a double, is he?
Yeah, it's not a straightforward forward table for Jamie Clark either. The two reds top right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jamie doesn't attack from here. No, there you go. He's just pressing home his advantage. Like you say, the two reds
That
top
is
right.
frozen, Tom.
But Tom's just moved. It's giving Jamie pause for thought when he approaches the table. Really a bit of a nothing shot there from Tom, but I don't think there was a lot he could have done.
Reset shot clock, please.
Now, how does Jamie see this table? Can he attack those two reds early? He's tried to do it now.
Yeah, there's your answer.
It's not great though, Jim. I think he's got the red closest to the bottom left, long pot.
Well, he's got to be a little careful too. Obviously, that red that he's looking at, he takes that away. So too, does he take his insurance policy away? But it would make his path very clear. He's going to go for game here.
I'd like to see Jamie doing that, actually. I get what you're saying. It's arguably quite a risky option, but when you're a player of Jamie's ability, you've got to back yourself to make these reds. And if the only way to do that is to take away your control, then you've still got to do it. I really like that shot. But it's not getting easier. He needs a big positional shot now.
Yeah, just the wrong side of the red, left center.
Oh, that's not the one. He's digging. He is digging hard here. He needs one good shot now. Oh, and he's got it. That's a beauty for Jamie Clark. That's his best shot of the night for me, Jim.
And very timely as well, Dan. Stakes himself to a 2-1 advantage. A great run out from Jamie Clark and much needed. And it's 2-1 in front of Tom Barley. Yeah, I just saw a little bit of what you have been talking about in the early going about Jamie. We'll finally get a glimpse of what he is capable of.
Yeah, massive frame for him there. Held his nerve really well. Like I said, he is still fighting for his place in this tournament. There is still a chance of him going through. If he wins here, he'll be relying on other results, no doubt, but he's got to believe. And he looks like he's got that belief. That was a great finish.
Frame 4. Jamie Clark to break, leading 2 frames to 1. Time running.
Amazing. He can hardly believe it.
Oh, this is a ridiculous game. He's caught hold of those so sweet.
I mean, 2/3 of them are at the top end of the table.
His best news there is the red in the towards the top right, because yellows was the obvious choice, and Tom's straight into his work as usual. But he's got to have a real good look at that problem, and he needs to have a real good look at it soon. He's already starting to run out of options with that yellow. I do wonder if it's entered his mind already that he might just leave it for a
Extension,
double.
please.
And that may well be why he's left that yellow. You can see there into the left centre, because if he played it from the angle he was on before, he'd be pushing the black, and he may have pushed it into the line of the double he's expecting to play. He's going to try and attack it now.
He's left himself a pocket. He's got a shot. He's a shot maker.
All about the pace, this one.
Oh, nice little touch on the black.
Yeah, handy little flick.
Well, this was a much needed visit from Tom Barley. These guys have upped the stakes in this one, 2 apiece. And they are both starting to show some form. Really heating up. Frame 4 in the books. Frame 5 still to come.
All results still possible, Jim. Any one of the 4, or any 2 of the 4, I guess, could still go through. Everyone's got a chance, but Jamie Clark needs these next 2. It's as simple as that. For Tom,
So
a point
Jamie,
may be enough.
If he gets a point, Jamie, it's not enough, and that would leave either Tom,
Frame
Andy,
5.
or
Tom
Dan.
Barley break.
2 of those 3.
tied at
Jamie
2
would
frames all.
effectively be out. I
Time
wonder if
running.
he's done the math in his head.
I would imagine Jamie Clark knows that he needs a win. Where he draws the line on how many frames he needs to win, it doesn't matter to Jamie. He just needs to win. So, yeah, it's just all about getting the W for him. But is he going to have the opportunity? Well, maybe, because that first shot for Tom Barley has gone very wrong. That red's welded itself to the right-hand side cushion. He's got a very tough pot next up. That yellow on that side cushion, that's going to be so tough wherever he takes that on from.
Well, a good pot to stay at the table there. Key shot coming up. He's got to leave a gap to get at that yellow on the right-hand side.
Oh, that's not far
And
enough.
he hasn't come near far enough.
No. He may be able to double this. Going to be going close to a double kiss. But I think it's his only option now. He's got to go have a go. Oh my word.
I think it double kissed and still went in.
Wow. It's a great shot from Tom Barley. It's heartbreak for Jamie Clark.
It is now. What a finish. A breaking out. One of the very few we've seen. Tom Barley may have effectively sealed Jamie Clark's fate. 3-2 he leads. But what a shot that was on the double.
Let's take another look at this. This was pure quality.
Tough to tell if it
shot.
double kissed, but it was brilliant.
Yeah, magnificent shot. Such a tough pot. You have to feel sorry for Jamie Clark though. He's got himself into a 2-1 lead in the match, and then he's broke dry, been reverse dished, and then been broke
Final
dished
frame.
like that.
Jamie Clark the break.
And
trailing
he
3
knows now.
frames to 2.
He's just playing for
Time
pride.
running.
It's taken till his very last frame of the evening, but he is out.
Foul.
Oh, he looked away
sums
from
it
the
up.
table. He didn't even see
One
the
free
cue
shot,
ball go
one
into the
visit.
side pocket. He was
This
getting
sums
his
it
playing
up.
cue, thinking he was good. Yeah, that kind of a night, Jamie.
This is a cruel game at times.
Well, the way that Jamie Clark plays, though, rest assured, he'll have his time in the sun.
Yeah, I hope so, Jim. He's proven a lot of people wrong getting to this stage, and he should take real heart from the way he's played in this competition. I hope he can see the positives of that. But I get the feeling we are also going to be seeing a lot more of this young man, Tom Barley. He has been superb the last 3 frames.
Yeah, and just like
Frame.
that, Tom over to
tied,
offer
3 frames off.
congratulations to Jamie. It's a 4-2 win, and Tom Barley has to be feeling pretty good about proceedings right now. And I'd wager that the boys in the studio feel the same.
Yeah, Tom's definitely through to the final tomorrow, isn't he, Mark?
He is, yeah, he's in that Event 1 final. I tell you what, I don't know how he's pulled himself out of that, because in the middle part of the night, he just sort of fell apart. But towards the end, just when it really, really mattered, he's pulled something from out of the bag. I don't know how he's done it, but he has. He's in tomorrow's Event 1 final.
And also, what makes it better, the last match we've got coming up tonight now, Dan Davey knows if he wins, he's through. If he draws or loses, he's gone.
Dan Davey's gone, yeah. A draw is no good for Dan Davey, but it's good enough for Andy Crosdale. He is the draw master. He is the draw master.
But Andy's really, the longer it's gone on this evening, Andy's just flying, isn't he? This is close, isn't it? I was just looking at the odds here before. It was 6-4 each of them before they started. Dan Davey and Andy Crosdale were both 6-4. We don't know who's going to win. The bookies don't know who's favourite. We'll be back in 3 minutes for the final match of the evening. It's going to be a good one.
Champions Cup, Stage 2, Group B match, best of 6 frames. First frame, Andy Crosdale to break. Time running.
So it's day number 8, and it's all come down to this. Dan Davey versus Andy Crosdale. A draw is good enough for Andy. Dan Davey must win this match outright.
He's come
And
out.
if you're on the edge of your seats, join the club.
What a time for Andy Crosdale to come out with his best break of the night. He's made a couple of balls. It's not an easy finish, though. He's very straight on this first red. It's really his only option. Well, I say that. He's got the red into the right centre.
Now, will these two be familiar with each other?
Reasonably, yes. They're both very popular players on tour, both very likeable as well. You can always be find them chatting away to people. I don't know if they've actually ever played each other on the tour, but they'll certainly know each other and know each other well enough to, comment on their games.
First time for everything. And Andy with the first real opportunity, and it's a good one. Ensures to leave a little angle on this red so he can get a little closer to that red on the right-hand side. But he's got to ensure to leave an angle there too.
Yeah, that's the key shot, will be the next one. You may have to leave a bit more distance. He's tried to screw it round off 2. And that is about as good as he could have got from there. That's a lovely shot.
Oh, just willing that cue ball on. He stayed down a little longer. And what a start for Andy Crosdale here.
The size of Dan Davey's task has just got much bigger. He now needs to win 4 of the next 5 frames if he's going to progress through to tomorrow night's Event 1 final. And that is a very tall order, Jim.
It is when he sees the way his opponent is playing. And he's just witnessed a great break and clearance from Andy. So he's going to have to do exactly the same thing. Looking to join Tom Barley and make up the event final for tomorrow. Liam Dunster, Corey Reese, Tom Barley, we know those 3 are there.
Frame 2.
The 4th man
Dan
will
Davey
come from
break,
this match.
trailing 1 frame to 0. Time running.
You know, the second match of the evening where Tom Barley beat Dan 4-0. We always had a feeling that that match was going to play an integral part in the final tally. And hasn't it just?
Yeah,
Extension,
it's certainly
please.
starting to look that way. But having said that, really, the table tonight hasn't gone down to frame difference at all. It's very likely that it's all going to be done on points. So I don't think it's the 4-0 has hurt Dan as much as, you know, he just needs to get this one over the line. If he wins 2 matches, he still goes through. But the 4-0 isn't necessarily what's going to hurt Dan.
10 seconds.
He's just got to keep Andy Crosdale away from the table for a little while. Interesting that he's chosen to go reds. Just the one problem ball. That one to the left and below the black there. Surely going to have to move that. Is he trying to go into it now?
10 seconds.
Oh, he'll take that all day long. That's worked out perfectly.
Cleared the pocket. He's got the red into the center. Just having a look to assure himself that red will pass. And it certainly looks like it will from our perspective.
10 seconds.
He could not have asked for better there, Jim. Absolutely. It's still not quite straightforward, don't get me wrong, but he will be delighted with how that last shot came out. Just got to cut this one in and avoid the red on the way back.
10 seconds.
And he wants to finish as straight as possible. I was going to say as straight as possible on the red in the bottom half of the table. He may have to reroute now. He's going to have to take the one in the top half first. Got a big pocket for the black, but he'd rather not use it because that pushes the black away from the pocket.
Yeah, that's nowhere near hard enough.
No, I mean, I think he was a little surprised that red dropped. He caught that way too thick. The red just about dropped, but if he caught that at the angle he wanted to, a lot thinner, the cue ball probably would have come even 1 or 2 feet further across the table and he'd have been much nicer on this red. This is such a huge shot now. Oh, my word. That's such a great pressure pot from Dan Davey.
Wow. That's all I can say about that one. Wow. Double D. Come on down. 1-1 against Andy Crosdale. But what a shot. And the position to follow. Tremendous effort. Look at it again. drawing
Yeah, I mean,
off that yellow, an unbelievable shape to the black.
Yeah, it's a little slice of genius from Dan Davey there. And he needed it. He absolutely had to win that frame. I think going 2-0 down in this match would have been fatal for Dan. But now Andy knows he's in a game. And don't forget the pressure is massively on Andy as well, because if he doesn't win this match, or if he doesn't get a draw
Frame
here,
3.
he's out.
Andy Crosdale to break. Scores tied 1 frame all. Time running.
Well, we'll see if that Davey magic can hold up. He's going to need it all. Andy Crosdale at the table. Didn't hit that break with nearly the kind of speed that he's capable of. Got one in the side, but it's very messy, this table.
Yeah, that's kind of the pros and the cons of the cut break. If you take a bit off the cut break, you tend to make a ball more often,
10
but
seconds.
you don't get such a
Attention,
nice
please.
table. And I think he's really going to struggle to take these out from here. Not to say that it's impossible. He's a fine player. And if he can get into those 3 reds that are close together early, then this could develop into a very good chance, but there's work to do.
That last shot he played really couldn't have worked out a lot better.
No, pretty perfect, Jim. Didn't open up the reds, but gave him the opportunity to do so on the next shot. And this is looking ominous for Dan.
It is. I was about to say that's the problem if you're a Dan Davey fan. It's out of your hands.
Andy pots the ball so well. When he hits them, they stay in the pocket. They stay potted. Really does
And he
play with a
wastes
lot of
no
conviction.
time. What a clearance that was. Didn't look like it was very promising when he came to the table. They were messy. Well, he cleared them up fast. Andy Crosdale 2-1 ahead of Dan Davey. He wants one more frame to secure his place tomorrow.
Yeah, on a night where break dishes have been relatively few and far between, we've had 3 in a row now from these two. And look at the table there. Tom Barley sitting proudly atop it. Andy Crosdale trying to dislodge him. Dan Davey is still in there, just about battling away. He needs these last 3 frames. If he does, he goes into second place, and he will be in tomorrow's final. So it's still
Dan
all
Davey
to
to
play
break.
for Double D.
Trailing 2 frames to 1. Time running.
Well, starting to get the measure of the break. In fairness, Dan has broken probably as well as anybody in this group.
Oh, yeah, easily. Better, actually. His break has been... He's the one person who's had a consistent break all night, and it's been excellent. And this is another example of that. He's got
10 seconds.
a tricky little red to start with, but if he gets it, then these should be gone. They should be 2 all, really. Oh, he didn't want to flick that red into the black, though. He was trying to avoid that one.
Great long red to start his
Enough.
mission.
Touch and ball. Time running.
It was Jim, but it's gone wrong for him.
10 seconds.
Well, he's going to continue to be aggressive, and that's another wonderful pot.
He's got to move it here, though. He has to take that red away from the black.
Ideally, wants to move both, really, because a little flick on the black would mean it went into the bottom right. I don't think that's quite enough, but he'll be happy enough. He's moved the red. All his reds go now. If the bottom of those two reds next to the right centre drops in,
10 seconds.
then it's not too bad. And there you go, it does, because now he can take the red in the top half of the table, bring the cue ball back a little bit. You can see him pointing his cue to where he wants it, and he can drop on the black into the bottom left.
He's got the cue ball right where he wants it. This is a key shot right here.
That's about as good as he could have done. He probably actually hit it a fraction too well. A little bit more angle may have been preferable.
Both of these players have upped the standard. They've found another gear. Our last match of the evening means so much.
Frame.
And Dan Davey is not backing down. What a finish again from Double D there. But he knows the result could be out of his hands. He's done everything he can do. Now, we'll see what Andy Crosdale can manufacture in the next.
I just feel, Jim, I just feel like Dan Davey is destined to win this frame. I feel like this might be destined to be a dry break, because this has the feel of a final frame decider. And if Dan Davey wins this frame, that's exactly what we're going to get. It would be a single frame to decide who goes through. But Dan has got to hold up in his end of that bargain in this frame.
Frame 5. Andy Crosdale to break. Scores tied at 2 frames all. Time running.
Well, we were treated to a shootout in yesterday's final outcome between Corey and Liam. Just to decide the group, they were both through. But wouldn't it be just the icing on the cake, Dan, if we can get down to the last frame again tonight?
I certainly would, Jim. And looking at this table, will we?
Extension, please.
There's not a lot on here for Andy Crosdale. He's got a red into the right centre, but I don't think either of the two reds closest to the cue will go anywhere particularly nicely. All the yellows are in that kind of circle. There's certainly the two closest to the cue ball. They're awkward as well. Has he got enough angle on this yellow into the centre to dislodge them? I think he's going to be trusting to luck a little bit.
Ten seconds.
Now then, Dan Davey.
Yeah, he went for the difficult yellow just because it provided more opportunities. But now, as you said, Dan Davey, come on down.
It's just that yellow, red closest to the cue ball, Jim. That is so awkward.
Extension, please.
I think he can drop the one into the left centre. But I don't know what sort of position that affords him. Can he play with any pace to top it through and get on another red? It's so tight. Look at him studying it. Oh, is he playing this as a plant? This is a massive shot. Oh, it's not there. I think that's it.
Well, he went for the throat early, and he may pay the price.
I think he had to do that, Jim. I don't think there was any way he was getting back on that red he was closest to. It was such a difficult shot. But he felt there was no choice. Don't really see any problems for Andy Crosdale here. It's just going to be about the last positional shot getting on the black, really. Don't think that'll go to the top right. It may do, though. It may pass, and if it does, then he's got a huge area to work with. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. What's he done there?
He's come unstuck because he cannot see enough of this yellow to cut it into that same pocket. He flicked it on the way out. Totally unintended.
That's a horrendous shot, Jim. And so's this.
10 seconds.
Yeah, he tried to spin it around the red. Not to be. And you've really got to fancy Dan now. He's got so many options here.
I can't believe. I
10
can't believe
seconds.
what we're witnessing. I still can't believe what we're witnessing. That was tight on the rail, that red. He had to really drop it into that centre. It was so tough. He's left Andy Crosdale a double. And he's got it. Wow. Dan will be dumbstruck. In goes the black. Where's the cue ball? Oh, my word.
Lost
The
the
cue
frame.
ball's in. I cannot believe what we're seeing, Jim.
Don't anybody go home just yet. There's another chapter to be written in this book. Unbelievable stuff. You want drama? You've come to the right place. Look at this. What would have been the ball to see Andy Crosdale through? The white finds the side pocket.
Well, let's take another look. I mean, you couldn't write this. I know I said it had the feel of a final frame decider, Jim, but I didn't expect any of this.
Yeah. You know something, Dad? Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.
Wow. Dan Davey, I mean, can he make the most of this opportunity? He had a couple
frame.
in the last frame, didn't
Dan Davey
take
to
them.
break, leading 3 frames to
His
2.
heart, both their hearts
Time
must
running.
be going 10 to the dozen.
Look out! Desperately close to going in that corner pocket. Now, double D.
You could almost feel Andy Crosdale sucking that one into the pocket. What's he got on here? I mean, this is a decent chance. I don't know if he's got an opening yellow.
Extension,
The
please.
yellow on the balk line, does that go into the right centre? If not, could he play red onto yellow? It's a messy table. It looks fairly straightforward when you look at it for the first time, but everywhere you look, there are problems.
Is that going to be the starting shot that is going to see double D through? Andy wondering the same. Just wants a chance. And only time will tell if it'll come. All the eyes of the pool world front and center watching
10
this.
seconds.
Well, this yellow into the centre is a tough pot. And it's a great pot. But where does the black go, Jim? Because he's forced into taking this yellow in the bottom right now. That was his best ball to get on the black. That's going to be out of commission. This is awkward enough as it is.
Yeah, it's not very often that that I can say that it looks tough from the commentary box. You don't miss many from up here.
I've missed a few, Jim, don't you worry.
But he really is going to have to provide something. He's got to ensure to leave himself an angle on this yellow to the right side. And it'll be all about the pace that he plays it. He's showing you the angle he needs and the line that cue ball takes.
Oh, that last pot as well. Terrific under pressure. He has got some stones as Dan Davey.
Here it is. If Andy Crosdale is going to get a chance, this is where it's going to come.
Ten seconds.
I'll tell you what, the 10-second shout couldn't have been more timely. Right in his backswing.
Well, he knew it was coming. To be fair to Dan, he could have waited for it. You do see some players do that. Oh, what's he got here? I think he's looking at a treble, Jim. I don't think the
10
double's
seconds.
there. I think the red's in the way. Oh,
It's
wow.
close. It's close. What
Frame
a
and the
shot. Dan
Dan Davey with
Davey,
4 frames.
wow. This is your time. Double D, you have just made your way through to tomorrow's final, and well done indeed. What an unbelievable match that was. Tremendous stuff. And we had the best seat in the house. Fantastic stuff. Dan Fairway, thank you so much for making it all worthwhile as well. Boys in the studio, this is all yours.
Who invented this? Unbelievable, wasn't it? That was that. Oh, I've been to some sporting events in my time. Honestly, horse racing, greyhound racing, tennis, golf, anywhere. That was unbelievable, wasn't it?
That was biggest drama at the
What a
highest
game
class.
this is, Paul.
It is a wow factor. Anybody that stopped up to watch this last match was in for an absolute treat. And Dan Davey at 2-2, when that black went in from Andy Crosdale, you thought he'd left the competition then. And then that white just trickled in, and Dan Davey's still in. And then he's breaking for the match. And what a fantastic clearance that Dan Davey had. That treble on that black was unbelievable.
We've got
Let's
to
have a
see
look
it
at
again,
this
haven't
again.
we? It's
Let's have a look.
unbelievable, this is. Unbelievable.
This treble. What a shot there from Dan Davey.
And I said to you before, didn't I? I said, look, it's what can he do? And all of a sudden you said to me, he's going to treble it. And you did. I asked, a treble? I thought it was only a double. I've never seen a treble yet. I've only been here like 3 weeks. I can't believe that was absolutely fantastic, Mark. I thoroughly. You said to me the other night, you enjoying the pool, didn't you?
I did,
I
yeah.
went, yeah, but the last 2 nights has been, well, it's just
Dramatic, I think
Yeah.
the word is. Absolute dramatic.
There's pressure.
And you've seen it tonight. Dan Davey, he was under so much pressure, but he didn't do nothing wrong up to that 2-2 point. But how has he held himself together? And I don't know how he's done
Unless
it
we know
before he
people, I'm not being funny. If you had an arena full of spectators here tonight, they'd be standing on it was unbelievable. It just would, wouldn't they?
They would, and they'll be talking, drinking, and talking about that last shot.
That last match and that last
been-
finish
it's been a
should
talking point.
have had 3,000 people watching it.
Absolutely, it should.
You know,
But Dan Davey, he's made it.
it's not even a final night. It's only semi-finals.
I had him down for working as well from the commentary and that, but he's going to have to be in the final now.
It was just fantastic, wasn't it? It was just, I've never seen anything like that. You're a Paul, you love Paul. I'm sure nights like tonight, you've got to love it even more, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. And this is why we love this small table game, for dramatic endings like this. This is what we stay up for. This is pool players stay up late and into the early hours of the morning, and this is still what you see at the highest class. It is drama. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Well, we've got Liam Duster tomorrow in the final. He's going to be about a 5-4 chance. We've got Corey Reese, he's 2-1. We've got Dan now. He's going to be about a 3-1 chance. And the outsider's going to be Tom. He's going to be about a 6-1 chance for the final. It's really, really, I think it's just absolutely, it's been fantastic. But other than that tonight, tell me what else, Mark, you think that, you know, on the night, it's just took it all apart, hasn't it?
Well, on the night, I said there has to be some upsets along the way. And we saw the upset straight away in that very first match. Tom Barley demolished Dan Davey, who's got through my head, 4 frames to 0. And I did say there was going to be some upsets, and I was right. And again, we've seen some upsets here. Andy Crosdale had it in his hands of that match. What was he thinking when that white gone in, and how would he recover? He never got another shot to try and get through to the final.
I'm just looking at Tom Barley, when he first started against Dan Davey, he's absolutely, you've never seen a player like it, 4-0, wasn't it? He just absolutely come out. And then he fell asleep, didn't he, Tom? For the next match, when he played Andy Crosdale, he couldn't do nothing, could he? He was slowing down. I think that was it. He was taking his time, and that's when, Tom Barley fell asleep, didn't he, halfway? And then all of a sudden, he's come out against Jamie Clark. Jamie Clark was desperately unlucky, and I think Jamie Clark's played really well tonight. Don't forget, he was the outsider of the party to win tonight, and he's played well as well. But
also with Jamie Clark, he could have gone through tonight. If he'd have got that win against Tom Barley, he was through.
That's just unbelievable.
Everything could have happened tonight.
And it did.
It did, yeah, it really did.
You wouldn't think it, would you? You know, but we've got tomorrow now. We've got the final. We've got the 4 players. Tell us a bit about the 4 players tomorrow. We've got the world's #1, haven't we, tomorrow?
Liam Dunster, the world's #1. We've seen him in action. He's won 5 matches and drawn 1. We've got Corey Reese, won 5 matches, drawn 1. We've got Dan Davey. I think he's won 4 matches and he's lost 1 now. So it's everything to play for. And Tom Banger Barley, he's got nothing to lose in tomorrow's final.
No, I agree with you there. I think if Tom comes out tomorrow and if he's on first, you don't know. Don't forget our first match tomorrow going to be on YouTube at 9 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock we have with Sporty stuff, don't we, for the last 5 matches. But whoever they put on first, if Tom comes out tomorrow in that first match, he's going to be the outsider of the 4. He's going to be around about 6-1 tomorrow to win the final, right? If he comes out that first match and he goes bang, 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 the banger, right? He could have a big lead. I don't know.
But what he won't get away with, Gary, is that he won't get away with going to sleep in the mid part of the night, because having that sort of struggling part of his game in the middle.
Oh, he can't do that.
He can't do that tomorrow. He's got away with it tonight. He won't get away with that tomorrow. Yeah. And he has to come out banging, as he is the nickname, the banger.
But look at Dan Davey. He fell asleep in the first match, didn't he? 4-0 down, but he come out and he thought,
he
what
did
am I
a lot wrong.
Now?
But you know, banger was.
He was 4-0 down, Dan, and he's come out and got through, isn't it? I just think, you know, and what we talking about Liam Dunster as well. You know, how do you think Liam? He's sitting in that hotel tonight. He's watching this, and I bet he thinks, because tonight it's just took off, hasn't it? I think Paul tonight. I know it's day 8 with him.
Yeah. Sporty
Stuff Champions Cup. It's come alive, isn't it? To me, tonight is the actual night that we've just seen things happen that can't happen. Yeah. And when you said to me that last shot, and when you said to me, I said, how's he going to get that? And you went, it's going to treble it. And then all of a sudden, Dan Fairway, he said the same, didn't he? Our commentator, Jim White, I think they're going to treble it. I'm looking, treble? And then all of a sudden, bang, bang, bang. Unbelievable. I've got, tomorrow, it's final night, isn't it? It's just absolutely out of this world, isn't it? But before we go, all I can say to you is, and for everyone involved in production team here tonight, our referee, our commentators, and you, the viewing public, we've had a fantastic night. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow night.